Hi, good evening, everyone. My name is Jen Morris. I'm the Director of Member Services for PVMA. Thank you for joining us tonight for a webinar with our partner, Focus HRO. So the COVID-19 pandemic has caused major and rapid changes in the way veterinary practices do business. PVMA is diligently working to provide veterinary professionals in the state with timely and accurate information through webinars, emails, and the PVMA website. If you're not currently a member, I encourage you to join and ensure that we are able to continue serving the veterinary community as your go-to resource and voice in PA. New member dues are prorated for the remainder of the year, and we also have practice memberships available. Tonight, we're here with Focus HRO to help with some guidance on carrier coverages, unemployment rules, and employer documentation. This webinar is being recorded, and it will be posted to the PVMA website in the near future. Our first presenter we have is Sam Bohr, founder and CEO of Focus HRO. Sam has been helping small business owners for over 15 years, and his vocation involves creating services to streamline the business process. Many hands make light work is a common thread to the development of Focus HRO, where his company provides outsourcing services for insurances, human resources, payroll, and web services. The common core to his vision is to create a place where small business owners and administration can focus on what they do best and put their time into business development and customer service, while his company handles the rest through a single point of contact. Our second presenter tonight is Linda Hostetter, HR and payroll specialist for Focus HRO. Linda has over 35 years of experience designing, implementing, managing, and administering HR, payroll, benefits, and safety management systems. Her roles have included management of day-to-day payroll processing, company retirement plans, benefit plans, unemployment, workers' compensation, safety committees, OSHA compliance, DOT compliance, and employee handbook compliance. Before I hand it over to Sam and Linda to get started, I'd like to ask you to use the Q&A feature to ask any questions that you might have during the webinar. We'll try to answer as many questions as possible this evening, but if we don't get to your question, we will post answers to our website as soon as possible. So Sam and Linda, I will hand it over to you.
Thanks, Jen, and thanks to PVMA for the partnership. We started with PVMA back January of, I guess it was really August of 2018, and we service veterinary practices throughout the state of Pennsylvania. I'm waiting for my computer to catch up with me here. There we go. What we've done for PVMA members is pulled together a lot of membership benefits. We would like to use the law of large numbers and use all of your practices combined to get you better rates on your workers' compensation. We have strategic partners with carriers to give you better rates on voluntary life and disability programs. We can manage your group health insurance and look at some strategic options for that. We can touch on telemedicine. A lot of the carriers are starting to offer telemedicine now included with their plans. And then we also offer employee assistance programs, which is really important these days with the morale of the employees, for them to seek help if they need professional help to talk through a lot of the challenges that they have, not only with their employment situation, but now they're wearing many hats at home. They're teachers, they're with their spouse constantly, so we might need counseling for that, and some other programs. So on this screen here, if you ever needed our services for anything, we have a web page specifically for PVMA members. You just go to focushro.com/PVMA, and you will find information on all of the membership benefits that are included as part of your individual or practice membership. And you simply complete the web form, and that'll come directly to us, and we typically get back to you within hours. Unless you do it late at night, I can't promise that. This is also going to be the website that you want to visit and use the CRM form to submit a request to us, and we will send you all of the documents that Linda is about to go through. But before Linda gets started, we do have a disclaimer. I'll just read it. This webinar, as well as the information and opinions provided herein, are not intended as a substitute for proper legal advice. The host and the panel members and their respective employers cannot be held responsible for errors, omissions, or changes to the law. So please seek counsel for specific advice for your specific situation. In other words, we are not attorneys, we do not play them on TV, and we did not stay at a Holiday Inn last night. So we are about to talk, Linda's about to talk about carrier coverages, unemployment rules, employer documentation. This is a really stressful time for all business owners. We represent several associations and we deal with hundreds of clients, and their questions are all the same. What do I do with my employees? What do I do with my staff? How can I continue to move forward in business operations? How do I get loans? What do I need to document? How do I bring employees back? There's a lot of moving parts. The information changes almost daily. So what we're going to share today is the latest information that we have, but you can always go to the website and look for specific updates as they occur. So without further ado, I'm going to turn it over to Linda, and she is going to get started with the presentation. All yours, Linda.
Welcome, everyone. Good evening, and thank you for taking the time to join us this evening. As Sam said, I know that the COVID-19 has really put a strain on employers, employees, basically the whole world. I do want to just go over a couple things regarding carrier coverage, some unemployment rules, and some employer documentation. I could go on for hours with these, but I'm just going to do a brief overview of some of the most asked questions and give you some answers to those. Some of you probably have already dealt with a lot of the unemployment issues. As far as the employment benefits, you need to know that your employee may be eligible for unemployment compensation benefits if you temporarily close or go out of business because of the COVID-19, you reduce your employee hours because of COVID-19, you have told your employees not to report to work because you feel employees might get or spread COVID-19, or your employees have been told to quarantine or self-isolate or live or work in a county under government recommendation for mitigation efforts. So they are the 4 reasons an employee would be eligible for unemployment benefits. And under the Federal CARES Act, which is Screen 6, they signed into law this CARES Act on March the 27th. The Act provides enhanced unemployment compensation benefits and pandemic unemployment assistance for Pennsylvanians. And what this means is under the pandemic unemployment compensation, the employee is eligible for additional benefits. These benefits include an additional $600 per week on top of regular benefit to all unemployment recipients. An employee is eligible for their normal unemployment based on what their highest quarter would have been for the year, divided by the number of weeks, and then they come up with an amount which maxes out at $572 a week. And then above and beyond that, they are offering this additional $600 per week. With this being said, there is some fear that employees will not want to return to work because they are getting this additional funding. And I will cover that here a little bit later as to how we can, as employers, control that. The other thing that the employees are eligible for is the Pandemic Emergency Unemployment Compensation, and that is for someone whose benefits have exhausted they will be adding an additional 13 weeks of unemployment benefits beyond the 26 weeks already provided, for a total of 39 weeks of coverage. And one last thing under the CARES Act for the unemployment is that the waiting week, which normally an employee would have to put in, is waived, and also the employee does not have to go online and do any type of proof of employment search. Those have both been waived under this act. Normally an employee would have to go on and prove that they're applying for jobs and things like that, so that if they are receiving unemployment, they have not had a job offer. So that is the things that has been waived. The next screen will show, it is a chart of how benefits have worked. If you have already been approved for unemployment benefits, you would continue to file bi-weekly. If you're eligible for regular UC benefits, you would apply for benefits and you would automatically receive either UC or PUA benefits and any extensions for up to 39 weeks. If you've exhausted your UC benefits, you would receive up to 13 weeks. And also, which does not pertain to most of your employees, they also have added that self-employed gig workers, contractors, things like that, that would normally get a 1099 are now also eligible for unemployment benefits. So that is some of the things that they have put into place to try to help with the pandemic. If we go to our next screen, you will see that we have some information here on what happens if your employee refuses to report to work, or this would be for someone that actually, if you're trying to hire someone and they refuse to work as well, this would be the new form that they have put out on the website at PA.gov, and this is called a 1921W form, and it will give you the ability to complete the form, your employee questionnaire, and you will fill out the information, and this will let the state know that this employee was offered a job and refused to work. With this form, then they will automatically suspend unemployment benefits. So this is a good way to hire employees, new employees, who you could offer a job to, and also a way to kind of manage the unemployment. Our next, also with that being said, there is also some documentation that is required for the unemployment benefits, and that would be sent to you when an employee has filed for unemployment. That form would be sent to you. You would fill out the information, return it to the unemployment office, and then from there they would determine whether the employee is eligible for the actual unemployment benefits and the additional money that they are paying now under the CARES Act. So if you would have a job opening and you would offer someone employment and they would refuse, then at that point, this is when you want to fill this form out and get it off to unemployment so that they are not able to receive benefits, and this will help to fill some of our open positions in some of our employers. More of these documents and things are available on our focushr.com website. You can take a look at those and request information on these. And I think that pretty much covers the unemployment. It's pretty self-explanatory. Like I said, they have waived a lot of the requirements due to the pandemic, which makes it easier for employees. The only issue is with so many employees filing for unemployment, they have such a backlog that it is taking quite a while for employees to receive benefits. I've heard that employees that filed back in March, some of them still have not received unemployment. So it's not a good situation for the employee, or actually for the employer at this at this state of the world. That's all on unemployment. And the next screen we are going to cover, and some of the information, is our carrier coverages. With much of the country in a lockdown due to COVID-19, many of our employers have concerns regarding your employee benefit programs. This can be caused from reduction in hours, termination, furloughs, and laying off employees. We'll go on to our next screen. And the problem with this is a lot of our plan documents do not differentiate between an employee who is terminated versus one who is laid off versus one who is furloughed. And for benefit purposes, eligibility is generally described as an active full-time employee or an employee who works at least 30 hours per week. If an employee is under protective leave, such as family medical leave, benefits will continue during that leave. So that would not be an issue under family medical leave. What does this mean? This means that an employee who's not meeting the hour requirement or is not actively at work, and work from home is considered actively at work, so that would not count. Based on being terminated, furloughed, or laid off, even temporarily, will generally have their benefits terminated and receive an offering of COBRA, state continuation, or no offer of continuation, depending on the employer's size and the state in which they are located. It is important to work with your carrier to determine if it's relevant to whether leave is paid or unpaid, and to determine how long benefits may continue during a furlough or layoff. It is also important to determine if the carrier will allow coverage to continue as long as the premiums continue to be paid during a public health emergency. To our next screen, again, a reduction in hours, which includes a temporary layoff and furlough, is considered a COBRA qualifying event, and it results in a loss in coverage. If an employee has fewer than 20 employees, state continuation law, meaning mini COBRA, may apply. The IRS COBRA regulations provide that a reduction in hours for a qualifying employee occurs when there is a decrease in hours and an employee is required to work or actually works, and not accompanied by an immediate termination of employment. If a group health plan eligibility depends on number of hours worked in a given period, such as 30 hours, and the employee is not working or has not worked those hours, it is considered a reduction in hours. With this can be very tricky and very devastating on the employees because COBRA is very expensive. If there is no difference in the plan documents for furloughed, laid off, or terminated employees, and the carrier will not grant a concession, then a reduction in hours or no longer working is a qualifying event, and the employee should be terminated from the group health plan. We understand this can be a hard and difficult decision to make during a public health emergency. And to our next screen, here is what we have been able to do for our clients with our carriers. Our carriers have been very generous and have given their clients grace periods in which your employee's coverage can continue without having to elect COBRA coverage at a very high cost. Of course, this time varies from carrier to carrier. And if you would like to discuss your individual carrier's regulations, please contact us directly. And basically what this means is due to the health emergency, they have agreed to let employers carry their employees for a longer period of time as long as premium payments are being made. Instead of dropping them immediately, they're continuing. Some of them are allowing 60 days, some are allowing 90 days. Some have other plans in place for us, and we can help you at Focus HRO with your carriers and all of this information. So please contact us directly with any more questions on that. With that being said, with our carriers, Sam mentioned earlier, we would also like to inform you that the carriers are now providing telemedicine for their members to utilize. This is available even if their plan did not previously offer it. It is at a low to no cost for your employees. Please encourage your employees to utilize this benefit. And this is fantastic because they can use their phone, they can use their computer, they can do the telemedicine, they can get diagnosis, they can get prescriptions. They do not have to visit the doctor's office, number one, and number two, it is a very, very low cost. So when times are like this, it's allowing employees to get medical treatment a little bit more economical. And again, if you have any questions on that or with your carriers, please feel free to contact us directly. The next step that we have here is we have more information and documents of these are available, again, on advice on how to help employees continue to pay premiums, information for specific carriers, and more information can be found at our website on focushro.com. And there's a couple forms there that you would be able to see as well. Our next thing that I want to go over real quickly and briefly is that there is a required FFCRA documentation form, record keeping for the new federal paid leave. And what this is this regulation requires employees to provide notice to their employers about their need to take either paid sick leave or expanded family and medical leave for reasons related to COVID-19. And this notice must include the following information: employee's name, the date for which leave is requested, qualifying reason for the leave, oral or written statement that the employee is unable to work because of the qualified reason, and additional information specific to the qualifying reason for leave. The new regulation requires employees to keep the documentation for 4 years, regardless of whether the employee was granted the leave or not. And this documentation is required so that you as employers can get credits back for any of this time that has been paid. Without this information, you would not be able to apply for credits. If we go on to the next screen, we also had sent an email out a while back regarding the poster that is required by the Department of Labor. Businesses are required to display an FFCRA poster created by the Department of Labor, a sample request form for extended family medical leave, the required FFCRA poster, and more information on the Families First Coronavirus Response Act and more are also available at our website at focushr.com. And that pretty much wraps up my information for the evening. Again, don't hesitate to contact us directly, and also you can check out our documents online, and any questions direct them to us directly. And I thank you for the time this evening, and I hope you have found the seminar useful. Thank you.
So, all right, thank you, Linda. So we had some questions come in, but a lot of those were able to be answered specifically. So if you have any questions, we can take those in the Q&A section if you have them. So we don't have any open questions at the moment. So Sam, is there anything that you wanted to finish up with?
Sure, Jen. The last screen on here is, if you go to that website, the documents are not there to download. You have to go into the form, and there is a comment bar, and in the comment bar, just kindly put a note in there that you're requesting the documents that have been included in this webinar, and that is, the flyer that needs to be posted now with your labor law posters, and some of the other forms. And if you also want to jot down in there which carrier you have and any specific questions, I don't think there's a limit on the comment section. So you could literally write a small book on what you're looking to accomplish, and we'll be able to take those notes and contact you and do the research and make sure you get the answers that you're looking for. So that's all I have, Jen.
Okay. All right. So I don't see any live questions that came in, but if you do have any questions on the HR page on the PVMA website, pavma.org, in our COVID-19 section, we have a human resources tab. So we do have an inquiry form. If you did have any questions tonight that you wanted to send in, we will still have that form available. That link to that form is also in your email and your reminder email that you received today as well. So thank you all for joining us tonight. And as a reminder, we'll be posting a recording of this webinar, any answers to questions that might come in after the webinar. So you can visit pavma.org to visit that information. You'll also find a vast number of resources for practicing veterinary medicine during COVID-19 on our website, and we encourage you to check back often as we are continually adding updates almost daily. So thank you again, and have a great night.